Tokyo Godfathers. Yes, it's time once again for me to revisit the realm of acclaimed Japanese filmmaker Satoshi Kon. In the previous times, I looked at his first animated feature where he messed up with my mind while trying to scare me. And I looked at his last completed animated feature where he messed with my mind while trying to be absolutely weird. He's a very special director, I can give him that. This time, however, I'm going to be looking into something of his that is completely different. It's not a film that's trying to be crazy, it's not trying to be weird and surrealistic, and it's not trying to scare me. Some say that this is Kon's most down-to-earth picture of his career, where he got the idea from an old American Western called Three Godfathers and collaborated with the writer of Cowboy Bebop, Keiko Nobumoto, in order to create another feature that is now often admired by critics, filmmakers, and fans alike. I'm still personally taking small steps to learn more about Satoshi Kon by making these reviews, so I will say that they've so far been quite handy to help expand my knowledge and give me a good excuse to actually watch these movies. So now that the trio got a baby on their hands, will this new direction from Kon lead to the same great results as before? Or does this movie share the same burdens as taking care of a baby that's not yours? Let's find out. The story. Among all of Kon's works, this one could arguably hold the simplest concept. 3 homeless people found an abandoned baby, and now they're going all around the streets of Tokyo to find the parents. No crazy world building, no complex ideologies related to the human mind, no element of fantasy. It's just 3 hobos and a baby. And some unexpected mishaps along the way. Funny enough, like a group of homeless people, the film doesn't have a lot to offer, leaving just the characters themselves to carry both the baby and the whole picture. And yet, as simple as it is, it actually works amazingly well. While I will get to them individually later, the movie is equally about the 3 leads as much as their quest to return the baby home. Through the child, we get to learn all about who these people are. Not only their personalities and their dynamic between one another, but also why they became homeless, their personal struggles, both old and new, and what their lives were before they lost everything. A big part that makes the story appealing is not just to ultimately see the baby be safe back home, but also for the leads to reconcile with their past, to come at peace with what led them to the bottom, and with it, can help take the first steps to improve their lives, even if it's just a little bit. At first, they only have each other, but now with this newfound purpose, their possibilities of a second chance get to be stronger with every step they take, even if the steps can be very emotionally difficult.
This is what's best for everyone. Being with your real family is what matters. Even Kyoko will be with her real mother soon.
Then what?
Also, I'd like to add that there is a bit of a commentary regarding homelessness. It may not be obvious at first, since you'll be primarily focused on the trio and the baby, but it does indirectly make a statement of how homeless people are people too. By getting to know them, they are still people like everyone else, except that they're just down on their luck. And yet, not everyone can see beyond their social status, and while some would gladly aid them for their act of kindness, others treat them no differently than the trash they sit next to.
Hold it! Hey, how you been?
Also, it's worth noting that Tokyo Godfathers counts as a Christmas movie in a more indirect way. No, it's not the die-hard excuse where some say, well, it's set during Christmas, so it must be a Christmas movie. But rather, it's about the theme of miracles. When you think about it, miracles tend to be pretty common in holiday stories, especially when they are often portrayed like a gift from God.
This bundle of joy is a Christmas present sent from God! She's our baby now!
And in the case of this movie, the miracles here are presented as coincidences that occur on their journey which just so happen to be linked to their troubled past. It's meant to portray that these Christmas-like miracles can indeed happen, even for the most unfortunate. They also aid the feature to have some surprises to give this an exhilarating feeling that you never know what could happen next that could suddenly give the movie a rush. However, this could cause the film to be a make-or-break deal for some. One thing to note about the miracles is that they happen quite often. It's almost like in every scene, they stumble upon a coincidence that helps one of the characters to solve their personal struggles. For a movie that takes itself quite seriously in its realism, there may be a chance that some will find it a bit ridiculous that these homeless people are stupidly lucky that they got to experience so many miracles in a matter of hours.
What is your desire? My magic or an ambulance?
Ambulance, please.
What? How rude!
But again, that may not necessarily bother everyone, and it still doesn't change that the story was able to do so much with so little materials given. With just 3 homeless people, a child, and a backdrop of Tokyo, that's all you need to deliver a powerfully emotional story. The animation. By barely going beyond the realms of realism, the animation sticks to being as true to real life as it can be. Now, I might as well immediately get this question out of the way because I'm sure some may ask, if this movie is so dedicated to have its visuals be so realistic, then why not just make this a live-action movie if there's no need to play with the fantasy? Well, with the exception of one dream sequence, the point of the visuals is to present a side of Tokyo that is often ignored in media. And that is the lower class areas where the homeless usually frequent. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong to ask that, but it's more to highlight the scale of their mission. Tokyo is a huge city, and they have to travel all around the lower ends to find where the baby belongs. Not to mention the unexpected scenarios that the 3 suddenly find themselves in where, while they can realistically happen, no one would ever think they would witness that before their very eyes. But either way, questioning its use of animation can be considered a relatively minor issue, especially when the animation itself is very well done. Going back into Tokyo itself, when making the film, Kon and the animators wanted to have the city feel like a character in itself. The backgrounds are all highly detailed to be as accurate as the less glamorous parts of the area, showing how just walking around is still a whole obstacle in itself, as they are surrounded by the gritty side of the city life that feels overpopulated with industrialism. Also, here's a little fun fact about the film. Another reason to justify the use of animation is how the animators keep sneaking in faces on the buildings. Kind of like if the whole city itself is watching their progression the same way we are.
Tails.
Heads.
Another element to point out is how muted the film's color palette is. Technically, it's not a pleasant film to look at, but then again, that is kind of the point. This is a movie that's partly about homelessness, and I guess you could say that the feature is aware about how rich the colors should be, only having them pop out more when it's necessary to show a better living condition, while the poorer places are more faded, along with their clothes to show that they're not great or appealing, but they're just working with what they got. And then there are the characters themselves. There are those rare occasions where they have to go a bit extreme to save either each other or the baby, giving the feature some surprise action scenes that are quite effective in being intense and to have the audience on the edge of their seats with how the situation quickly escalated. But most of the time, the character's animation is also kept more real. They already have Satoshi Kon's signature style that is meant to be a bit more anatomically accurate, but the animator's job with them is to convey their emotions. This is a very solid example of the old saying that animators are actors with a pencil. because they managed to show a lot of great emotional range on the characters as they go through everything throughout the feature while also maintaining their attributes to visually show the amount of depth that's in them while they still stay true to who they actually are. Seriously, a part of me is shocked that this wasn't done with rotoscoping. It's that good. But I will say that the real standout animation star here is Hannah. With her flamboyant personality and her dedicated mother-like instincts, her animation is the perfect representation of the film's balance between comedy and drama.
What? Ah, did I hear that right? He thinks I owe him for what he did earlier. You have no right to tell me about debt.
Does this movie need to be an animation? I guess not necessarily, as a possible case of making things more complicated than it should be. But that doesn't overshadow the animation's accomplishments here, and for what it's set to achieve, it managed to do so very successfully. The characters. As you probably heard throughout this review, I decided to watch the English dub of this movie, specifically the 2019 G-Kids dub. I know there's this entire debate regarding subs or dubs, but in the case of Tokyo Godfathers, this dub is surprisingly very good. I'm sure this was a big challenge for the actors, especially that they have to work on a very character-driven film like this, so it was crucial to get their performances right. Thankfully, they managed to nail it beautifully, and they really helped brought their characters to life, including Victoria Grace as Miyuki, John Anver as Gin, and they even hired transgender actress Shakina Nayfak to perform as Hannah.
Hana is such a beloved character. People really look up to her. You know, she's kind of cherished in the canon of Satoshi Kon's work. And so I feel really blessed, and gosh, it was a huge challenge to step into her shoes because there's a lot of expectation about what she's gonna bring. I hope I brought it.
But back onto the characters, like I said before, they carry this entire film, and the trio have more than enough personality and development to easily grab the audience's attention about how they ended up in the streets. Actually, it's through their charisma that add the enjoyability of the feature by giving the film some well-placed comedy to enhance the dynamic between the three and make them more likable throughout their adventure.
Remember me for the mother I was and forever will be.
Look, a cemetery.
I'm not dead yet!
First, you got Gin, an alcoholic who lost everything after being drowned in debt by a con artist. Following the incident, he abandoned both his family and his life, where he has almost completely given up, not caring about anything else ever again, and keep filling himself with whatever drink he could find. However, the key word there is almost, as he still has enough of a heart to help those in need. In fact, there's still a part of him that did not let go of his family. And even if he may seem to accept his fate as a bum, he still would love to see his family again at least one more time.
The only thing I want before I die is to see my daughter once more.
So she is alive.
Yeah.
Then you have Miyuki, a teenage girl who ran away from home after her cat that she adored was thought to be gone. Because of the way that she overreacted, to put it nicely, she refused to go back out of fear, especially since her dad is a cop. As a young runaway, she acts tough to give the presence that she's capable of being independent, but on the inside, she's just scared of facing her own past because she may not be accepted back to her old life for what she did.
I stabbed my father. I can't go back, ever.
And then there's Hana, a transgender woman who is like the matriarch of the group. Once a club diva, she became homeless after losing her lover and leaving the club after having a fight with a drunken client. Among the three, she is the most optimistic, the one who notices the most that life can get better and even gets her dream opportunity of becoming a mother when the baby appears. She's the one who takes care of everyone, yet can often forget to take care of herself.
When I look at her, I see myself, born on the street, fated to roam there forever.
Along their path, they meet a variety of different characters, each with their own little backstory and connection with either the characters or the baby. While they may not be as prominent as the leads, they do help bring life to Tokyo to show how it's filled with all different walks of life with their own lives to take care of, even leaving an impact on the homeless crew or help progress their character arc.
I'm just happy to see you again. It's been too long. Please don't cry. It scares me to death.
Like their social status, these characters only have each other throughout the entire adventure. Yet that is more than enough to make miracles happen, including making the feature emotionally memorable. You wouldn't think Satoshi Kon would be the kind of director that would make a touching and down-to-earth Christmas movie, yet here we are. Tokyo Godfathers is a wonderfully emotional animated feature that managed to deliver so much with so little. Maybe this might not be the film for everyone, as they may find the amount of coincidences to be far-fetched and wonder why this is even an animated film in the first place, but for what it did right, it did so very beautifully with characters that are poor in wealth but rich in personality and charm, animation that successfully presents a hidden side of Tokyo that needs to be shown, some surprises that can make this enjoyably unpredictable, and a theme of miracles that uniquely fills this movie with that holiday spirit and powerful heart that brings people together. Not to mention that the G-Kids English dub provides some very solid performances that help strengthen the picture. I know many people love to stick to their traditional movies during the holidays, but if you ever need something different during that time, like something very different than the typical Christmas movies you're familiar with, then I highly recommend checking this one out. And if you want a very different YouTube channel to check out, then subscribe to mine and I could give you some unique videos like this review. Not many movies are able to have viewers come out with that sense of good feeling tenderness that only the holidays can offer. But Tokyo Godfathers can in the most unexpected way. And that's why I'm giving this the Animat seal of approval. It really goes to show how miracles can happen where you least expect them. Hey guys, this is Animat, and if I may put in one more word about Tokyo Godfathers, is that this is a word that many people I've seen actually use this to go and describe the movie, and it's actually pretty true when you do think about it, that Tokyo Godfathers is a very unconventional movie. Like, it's very unconventional for Satoshi Kon to do so. I mean, you wouldn't expect the creator of Perfect Blue and Paprika to go and create a movie like this. But also, this is just a very unconventional Christmas movie in general, or even just very unconventional for a movie, especially with its storytelling, with its narrative, and how they build its characters, or let alone an animated movie at that. But still, even though this is extremely different than most other animated features out there, the result is still great. It is still wonderful, it is still heartfelt, and I truly enjoyed my experience with Tokyo Godfathers. So, now that we have that done, it is now time that we are going to go and move on to a Patreon request. And this time around, we actually got a request from Peyton Michael. So, if you would like to be like Peyton and you would like to go and support my work and get some amazing rewards at the same time, including but not limited to seeing my videos before anyone else, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/animat. But at the same time, if you would like to suggest to me an animated film you would like me to review and I would put onto the animation hat, then all you have to do is write me an email at animatsreviews@gmail.com. So, what is it this time that Peyton has suggested me to go and review? What is going to be the next one? And is there going to be a way that I could top Tokyo Godfathers or even be on the same level? Well, you would be surprised that most likely, yes. Because before Tokyo Godfathers, I was actually on a roll with reviewing DreamWorks movies. And it looks like I'm going to be back at the studio, but more specifically with its biggest icon. And not just with its biggest icon, but also what many people say is his best movie.
On the year's last day, when all of life's accounts have been settled up,